Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
And welcome to a Thursday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Thursday. That means we're going to have our good friend Brent Beaird talking college football, pretty much the last weekend of college football. Second portion of the show, we have our Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. Marvelous Marty Pallman from the PrepZone.com will break down the state championship games being held in Tallahassee. But first, let's head on over to Jacksonville on the Titan Moore Hotline from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We're going to welcome our good friend Brent Beaird. Good morning, Brent. How are you?
Shane, I'm doing well. It's great to be on with you, as it always is. And, what's amazing is a week from today is Christmas Eve, so we're getting very close to Christmas. But, the amazing thing is, too, here we are. And it's game week. Shane, you remember we normally during this time would have about 8 minor bowl games coming up this weekend on Saturday, but instead it's Championship Saturday. So that's what's so amazing about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think our clocks and our heads of college football fans is all screwed up. But Brent, let's start first before we get to the championship games. Good old Jimmy Sexton. Man, tip your hat to that guy. He can make his clients some money, can't he?
Well, he really can. And Sexton, people sometimes don't realize just how behind the scenes that he is. One of the amazing notes, frankly, is that he created this economic situation where Gus Malzahn, Will Muschamp, and Kevin Sumlin are going to be paid cumulatively $52 million in buyouts. Shane, it'd be great to have a job where they pay us $21 million like they did Gus Malzahn to not coach again, or at least for a while. But look, not only does he do that, but the other thing that he does, frankly, is, and I think you'll see this with Mario Cristobal, we could be wrong, but I think that's what's going to happen, is he gets his clients' names involved in some of these coaching searches, and they may not get the job, but they get a raise, which probably for some of them is maybe even better. So we can't forget that part of it, too.
Yeah, he gets it done, no doubt about it. And before I failed to mention, we got some good news about Keontae Johnson yesterday. Looks like he's been sitting up, breathing on his own, laughing. So that is wonderful news. And plus, it looks like the Gators had a pretty decent recruiting class. We don't really know until, a few years from now when these kids get on the field. But, signing day is kind of weird for the Gators during the week of a championship game, but it is what it is. Brent, also the playoff committee, I heard, gosh, with no fans being able to go to the Rose Bowl, is there a possibility, since that's one of the playoff venue sites, is there a possibility of no Rose Bowl this year?
Well, I think that was going to be even a bigger possibility over the weekend and last week. But what we get from the playoff committee now is that they are going to do all they can to have the Rose Bowl. If they did not, it would be the first time since 1915, which would be staggering within itself. So at this point, Bill Hancock of the committee has come out midweek and said that they're going to make every attempt to be able to play that semifinal game in the Rose Bowl. So I know that's concern from ACC, SEC officials. about it. And again, Hancock was pretty coy about this. I give him credit. I mean, he said, as of the moment, when that press release came out, Shane, so we will follow that very closely. We obviously still have some time, but I can tell you this, whether they come at it and admit it or not, I'm sure they've got some kind of a backup plan to deal with that in case they can't go to Pasadena.
Yeah. No doubt. At Center State Bank, we put business first. We're the largest community bank in the state of Florida and understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. Center State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. Center State Bank, member FDIC. We're on the Titan MR hotline here from the Crime Prevention Studios talking to college football analyst Brent Beaird. You can follow him on Twitter at Brent Beaird. Brent, championship week. Let's go ahead and start with the big one that we're all interested in. And obviously it's not quite as big as we thought it was going to be. Alabama, Florida. Alabama comes in, the number 1 team in America. They deserve it. As I've said many times on my show, I think Alabama is the best complete college offense I've seen in my lifetime. How you see this game playing out?
Well, I may be different than a lot of people. I think Florida's going to play well. Now, we can't ignore the fact that for whatever reason they were not prepared to play against LSU. And LSU, again, we have to remember, regardless of all the opt-outs and all the injuries and all the people who left last year, they've still got a lot of 5-star athletes, and that really showed. The Johnson kid, Brad Johnson's son, was tremendous. I'm curious what you thought of him.
Well, but I'll tell you real quick, and you and I have talked about this via text.
Yes.
It took 5 games for Ed Ogeron and them to figure out he should be the guy, because they'd play TJ Finley for 3 quarters. They'd be blown out. They'd put Max Johnson in, and he would leave some touchdown drives. So they got some stability, a kid that made good decisions, did turn the football over. And I think that's why now we helped LSU. Let's be honest.
No doubt.
But he didn't hurt them. And I think having him play quarterback gave them a chance of winning.
I think what impressed me was he was fluid. I mean, he was efficient when he made a play. The play was, he just had a quicker release than Finley did. So I'm with you. I thought he did a good job in the game, but obviously disappointing. And look, Shane, my thing is, Florida should have been ahead by enough points by the time that you got around to the unfortunate Marco Wilson situation, where it really wouldn't even mattered. And I thought Evan McPherson is very capable of making that field goal. There were just a lot of things that did not go right. Now, with that said, I still think Florida last week practiced probably more for Alabama than they did for LSU. And I think some of that will pay off this week. I think they will be more focused. I think that they will be healthier, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. And Shane, I don't see Kyle Trask committing 3 turnovers again. Now the Bama defense is improving considerably since the Georgia game, and they'll be able to put some pressure on him. But I think the key to the game to me is who starts off fast. I think the goal for Florida would be to get the ball and to be able to score. And once they get in rhythm with their receivers, I think that's going to be crucial. And if Bama goes 3 and out and they get up and make Bama chase points, I think that's a real plus for them. Now, look, I think Bama wins a game. I still think they are the better team. But again, I just see Florida playing better in this game. And again, key matchup, and I'm sure this caught your eye, the Bama offensive line, which is the best they've had maybe under Saban, against the Gator defensive line.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough task. And I think, Brent, with both teams having really good offenses, I think for Florida to win this game, they need 3 to maybe force stops, whether that's a 3-and-out, force a punt, or a turnover and downs, whatever it may be. But they have to have at least 3 of those, and then they got to score. If they do get those stops, they got to score because they're that good. So you got the ACC championship game, which is probably the biggest ACC championship game they've ever had, with so much on the line. I believe Notre Dame, no pressures on Notre Dame. I think they're in no matter what. Clemson should have everybody back, right, that was out when they played Notre Dame the first time?
Yeah, and it wasn't just Trevor Lawrence. They had several players out on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to be, I think, as healthy as they have been in quite a while. So, and particularly with Trevor Lawrence back, that's going to make a huge difference in this game. But I'm with you. I think Notre Dame is in that now. If Clemson loses Notre Dame, they'll be their second loss. And we haven't had a 2-loss team in the playoffs as of yet. So I think that will likely eliminate them. Now, that would certainly cause some interesting debate among the committee. But I think a lot of this is your what these, particularly the former football coaches, see that are on the committee, this eye test. I know people get tired of that, but that is real, and that's a vital part of this. So, and Shane, I'm with you. I think even with a Bama loss and a Notre Dame loss, both those teams are still in the Final Four.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The Big 12, Iowa State, sitting at number 7 right now against Oklahoma. They upset Oklahoma earlier in the year. Iowa State's one of those teams that does not impress you. You know, they're not flashy, but they find ways to win football games.
Well, and they have continued to do that. Matt Campbell, I'm curious what you think of him. To me, is one of the better coaches around, I think. And again, he may just be a Big 12 guy, Shane, and that's where he needs to be. Now, Oklahoma, to their credit, I think has gotten better. Frankly, and they're obviously in the top 10. I think a lot of people are surprised with Iowa State at 6 after losing to Louisiana, which is a real feather in Louisiana's cap with that one too. But I'm with you. I think this is a very good game, and I tell you, if Iowa State wins this game, I'm not saying that they will get in the playoffs. But they have served notice for what they've done this season and what they're, I think, going to do in upcoming seasons.
Yeah. The Big Ten championship game, I honestly don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about this, Brent.
Yeah,
because
right.
I despise the way they've handled everything. But you got to think Ohio State's going to roll Northwestern, right?
Well, Ohio State's favored by 3 touchdowns, so I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, you've also got Justin Fields wanting to have a good performance for the Heisman, and I give Northwestern credit that they're in it to this point. Ohio State really should have played more games, and the committee needs to take more consideration in that, but their conference, their commissioner have really caused them a lot of trouble. So I'm certainly with you. But Shane, from last week's conversation, I'm guessing if Northwestern wins this game, I won't have to bring any tissues by for any tears afterwards, right?
Not at all. Not at all. I'll be rooting for the purple for sure. The American has a pretty good championship game. They were supposed to play last week, but they canceled it, which made a little bit of sense. Cincinnati, who's number 8, undefeated, is playing a very good Tulsa team. And I think Tulsa's going to upset Cincinnati. I just got a funny feeling.
Well, and they very well could. I mean, Luke Fickell's done an amazing job with Cincinnati, and you'll hear his name. Now, what I've been told is Fickell may be biding his time a little bit on down the line for the Ohio State job, and some Ohio State folks have told me that may be a natural fit later on. But you've got to be impressed with Tulsa and what they have done. I know there's about a 2-touchdown spread here, and again, and this is a sermon on another day. But I still think that teams like Cincinnati, that again still in the top 10. And a lot of people very upset that they weren't ranked higher than especially some of the teams with 2 losses, that your non-Power 5 at some point, and until we go to, or unless we go and expand to an 8-team playoff. See, Cincinnati could get in, Shane, at like number 8. If we had an 8-team playoff, they're not getting in the Final Four. And that's just the way that it is. I saw that when I was on the mock committee because of the way the committee looked at Central Florida when we were using them for an example. It's going to be a good game in Cincinnati. We'll again have a very good year. They'll be probably in the New Year's Six Bowl. But again, for that, for your non-Power 5s to make a difference, it's probably going to happen in a chain outside the current system we've got now.
Yeah. The Pac-12 championship, what a mess it's been as well. USC, who's undefeated, was supposed to play Washington. Washington had to cancel and opt out. Now the Oregon Ducks, who were supposed to be the cream of the crop, have 2 losses. They're going to play for a championship. Any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, and again, Mario Cristobal being linked to the Auburn job, what I think is happening there is he's getting a raise and an extension, and that will bode well for him because he's done a good job. He's one of the lower paid coaches, frankly, in the Pac-12. But look, he's almost been fired several times, but Clay Helton has really hung on at this point too, and got USC into their championship game. And I'm curious how much you've seen him. This Slovis kid at quarterback at USC is really good, isn't he, Shane? I think they're still better than Oregon is.
Yeah, he's a really good player. You know, SC's very fortunate. They've won a bunch of games in the last minute or so.
Sure.
We got a couple other very good conference championship games in the Sun Belt. You got undefeated Coastal Carolina, which is really the story of the year, playing a very good Louisiana team coached by Billy Napier. You still think Napier is he a possibility of any of these openings, or is he going to stay at Louisiana?
Well, I think he'll be given an extension if he wants it and a raise at Louisiana. He's done an incredible job. He was on the Alabama staff for a while. I really thought he should have got that South Carolina job when that was open. He's been mentioned a little bit with the Auburn job, but at this point, I don't think that's going to happen. And again, there certainly could be some more openings as it goes. Both these coaching staffs have done an incredible job at this point. Frankly, of all the championship games, I mean, this is like Coastal Carolina's favored by less than a touchdown. Look, I'm with you. I think this is one of the better games of the day and well worth watching because of you can sort of make the argument Coastal Carolina has been the story of the year to some degree.
I agree. And then in the Conference USA, it's UAB against Marshall, Ball State and Buffalo in the MAC. Boise State is playing San Jose State. I guess that's the Mountain West. San Jose State's undefeated.
That's right.
I saw somewhere they hadn't been undefeated since like 1930 . So good for them.
Yeah, 24, I believe, in the as far as in the college football playoff poll, which is amazing to think about that in the job that they have done. I know I say this a lot, but I really again amazed at the job that Bill Clark has done at UAB, and I still think that after they're in their new stadium, that he may be looking for a job in a couple of years. But he is a program builder like Billy Napier is, so keep an eye on him. Yeah.
Vandy got a new coach. Clark Lee, I think's his name, played there, defense coordinator at Notre Dame. Arizona's open, Auburn's open, Arkansas State hires Butch Jones off of Saban's staff. The whole Auburn thing is, word was it that Hugh Freeze had been cleared by the SEC. That was who they were going to have. Now it seems like it's a Kevin Steele job, which absolutely makes no sense to me, Brent. If you're going to pay all that money just to walk down the hallway and hire a defensive coordinator, what are you hearing at Auburn?
Well, just that this may very well be Kevin Steele's job. And here's the reason. Auburn's a little bit different animal at times than a lot of other schools. Steele has been there for quite a while. He's well liked. He's well liked by the people who write the big checks, like Jimmy Rain from Yellowwood. And he has really gotten in solid with Rain and some of the other big money guys. Bobby Lauder, if you remember what used to be one of the big money guys, but that was a big banker, Montgomery, with Auburn. And that makes a big difference with Auburn to be able to do so. I mean, look, I'm with you. It's really it would be amazing to make that higher in that you could have probably kept Malzahn another year before you go and hire Kevin Steele. Now, frankly, Steele has probably saved Malzahn's job 2 or 3 years in a row because they've had a pretty good defense at this point. But I will not at all be surprised if that's who they hire. They've made this window dressing of hiring a search firm type thing, but I don't think that's going to make that much difference. I've heard they may make a decision and an announcement by maybe Monday of next week in here, but that, again, a lot of things can change. We never know what happens, but there are a lot of people on the inside who like Kevin Steele, and frankly, again, Shane, that's how Auburn makes decisions. That they've got an AD, Alan Green, and he'll have some input, but it won't be as much as the guys who are the big money boosters at Auburn.
Gotcha. Brent, gosh, time goes by so fast with you. Give us some nuggets before we let you go.
I think just some things to think about. And listen, people forget about this, haven't they, Shane? That number one, Georgia tried to get a game. Vanderbilt said, no, they're not going to play again. So Georgia is now not going to play. So that's disappointing for them. They were hoping those seniors would be able to maybe break the record. They've got 42 wins. The record's 45. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. And people probably forgotten Tennessee hosts A&M.
Yeah.
And A&M is number 5. Look, if they have a certain amount of things happen, A&M could even get in the playoffs themselves with that only loss to Alabama. I still think Florida should have beat A&M, but unfortunately that did not happen. And again, what we've got to keep in mind, LSU hosting Ole Miss, I think that could be, frankly, a very entertaining game as you look at that, particularly now with Johnson at quarterback, Mississippi State, Missouri. So remember that this was the Saturday that if you needed to make up a game, that you could do that. So I think the great thing for the SEC, not only do we have Florida-Bama that night, but we've got these other games going on during the day.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. A lot of stuff, as you mentioned, to watch. And all eyes will be on these championship games, see how the 4-team playoff turns out. Brent, be safe. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll talk to you next week. We appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Shane, always, my friend. We'll look forward to it. Take care.
That's Brent Beaird. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. You can follow him on Twitter at Brent Beaird. Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. This month, get a free annual maintenance plan with every residential duct cleaning purchased at $199 value. Our service department's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your convenience. This day in sports, back in 1991, the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Miami Heat 148-80 by a record 68 points. That's the most lopsided game in the NBA history. So there you have it. That's brought to you by Comfort Temp. We're going to take our first time out of this Thursday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. We come back. It's the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. We'll be joined by the PrepZone.com's marvelous Marty Pallman. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
This is Shane Matthews. Thank you for listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can also check me out on Inside the Huddle with Steve Russell and the head ball coach Steve Spurrier. Tune in every Tuesday during football season on WRUF 98.1 FM, 8:50 a.m. at 10 o'clock in the morning, or find us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Ribs, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Radware for all your promotional needs, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points, where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Palmetto Moon, Medici's, Nike, The Keys Grill and Piano Bar. Opening soon, Dave & Buster's, and coming spring of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators come to celebrate. I want to thank Brent Beaird for joining us. Now we're going to go kick off our Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup with the PrepZone.com's marvelous Marty Pallman. Good morning, Marty. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Shane. How you doing? Good to be with you.
Doing well. We had some games played yesterday. Today at Doak Campbell, the Bowles Bulldogs from Jacksonville play. And then locally, the Hawthorne Hornets, coached by former Gator Cornelius Ingram, play for their first state championship. First, I want to get your thoughts about Bowles. It seems like they're playing for a state title each and every year. Do they have a good chance of winning?
Well, I tell you, you're right, Shane. They're there pretty much every year, and of course, unfortunately, the late Corky Rogers, who passed away earlier this year. He won 10 state titles for Bowles. They have the most state titles. Actually, he won more than that. The most state titles of any school are currently tied with St. Thomas Aquinas, with the most state titles in Florida, actually, with 11. Corky Rogers won 10 of those. And they're back for the second straight year of the state title game in Class 4A. Last year, it looked like they were going to knock off Booker T. Washington. They had a 2-touchdown lead in the fourth quarter, but Booker T came back late. They won that game. This is going to be a tough matchup, though, against the Cardinal Gibbons team out of Fort Lauderdale. Cardinal Gibbons went to Cocoa last week in the state semis, or 2 weeks ago, and beat them by Cocoa by 30. Everyone thought that Cocoa was going to be back in the state championship game. They played Bowles before. They've beaten Bowles before, but this is going to be a typical Bowles team. They're coached now by Matt Toblin, who used to be the coach at Ponte Vedra and at Clay. He took Ponte Vedra to the state championship game a few years back when they had Nick Tronti, who's now the quarterback down at FAU. He had a great year at Ponte Vedra as a senior. But he's been able to get Bowles back to the state championship game. And when you look at Bowles, they don't always look like the most impressive team on the field, but they've got a running back in Cade Frew, who's rushed for 1,400 yards this year, 15 touchdowns. The quarterback, Gunnar Boree, his name is Gunnar, so that's a great name for a quarterback. He's a senior. He'll throw enough to keep you honest, and they're just a really good, solid defensive team. They're going to have a tough matchup today with a Cardinal Gibbons team coming out of Fort Lauderdale. And those South Florida teams, always tough, always play pretty good defense. Usually it's a team coming out of Miami in this game, but Booker T. Washington this year opted out of the postseason due to COVID-19. So instead, it's going to be a team from Fort Lauderdale taking on Bowles. But this is their second straight appearance for Bowles in the 4A championship and the 19th appearance for them in a state title game. So you're right, Shane. They're definitely, in December, you expect to see Bowles in this game.
Hawthorne Hornets, Cornelius Ingram, as I mentioned, their head football coach. They upset the 3-time defending state champ Madison County. What do you know about this Hawthorne team and the Baker team that they're playing? I think Baker's undefeated. Can Hawthorne beat them?
Baker is undefeated. We look at Baker, and anytime these teams come out of the Panhandle, at first we don't know a lot about them. We kind of, as the week goes on of the championship game, we kind of learn more about them. But this, pretty much what we know about this Baker team is they're going to run the ball all game long. And they ran the ball for 5,000 yards this year.
Jeez.
And, yeah, basically. So this is a team that Hawthorne's going to have to be ready for a big-time running game. And if you listen to the numbers, Matt Brunson is the coach at Baker. Much like Cornelius Ingram at Hawthorne, he played at Baker. He's an alumni of the school there. And his son is the senior running back, Joe Brunson. He rushed for 2,460 yards on 320 carries and 27 touchdowns this year. So those numbers are really eye-popping. So Hawthorne's going to have to be ready for that. And then they also have a sophomore running back, Caleb Wagner, 1,250 yards, 16 touchdowns. They've only thrown the ball for 395 yards this year from their senior quarterback. So, Brody Sharp. So, yeah, Baker, we pretty much know what they're going to do. They're going to try and run it. Now, Hawthorne has been pretty strong against the run, and that's the thing. This Hawthorne team is a team that defensively, that's been their strength. I mean, we saw in these playoffs, they took on Wildwood, a team that went to Newberry and blew out Newberry, scored 42 points, and they only gave up 8 points to Wildwood. They only gave up 7 to Fort Meade. And then, of course, against Madison County a couple weeks ago in the state semifinal game, they shut down Madison, got a defensive touchdown late at Hawthorne to win 18-14. And, Hawthorne gets enough offense, too, and they're going to throw it a little bit more. Chaz Mackey, their quarterback, who is a transfer from North Marion, he's thrown for over 1,100 yards, 14 TDs, 6 interceptions. He'll throw it enough to keep you honest. Dre Lawrence has rushed for nearly 1,000 yards, too. But this Hawthorne team, has definitely strength has been defense. Their defensive lineman, Jalen Ruth, 122 tackles this year, 27 for loss. They also have Rolandis Watson, 97 tackles. So, defense is the strength for Hawthorne. They seem to do well against teams that run the ball. They've run against this kind of offense already this year. So I think it's kind of a strength against strength kind of game. It looks like it's going to be a close game. I think we're going to see one of those games where it's going to be a grinded out quick game, pretty like a 2-hour game probably. But I look for a close game on Thursday night or tonight.
Yeah. So, Marty, are you on the call with Mike Rideout for this game?
Yep, Mike and I will be in Tallahassee tonight at Doak Campbell Stadium on 106.9, and we'll be on the radio tonight doing the game. Looking forward to it. The state championships, now it's pretty late at Doak Campbell Stadium, but all the state championship games were moved to Doak Campbell this year. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that. We'll be on the call of that game tonight.
Are y'all doing any of the other state championship games or just Hawthorne?
Just Hawthorne in the Gainesville area. So we'll just be on that call. The rest of the games are being video streamed on Spectrum and Sports, which is mostly down in Central and South Florida. They also are online for a fee, so you have to pay for that if you can watch it on your computer. But, yeah, Mike and I are only involved with the Hawthorne game on the radio this year.
Well, Marty, we appreciate you joining the program. Have a good call in the game tonight. Hopefully the Hornets can bring home a state title to our area. And we appreciate you and Mike joining us this year. We'll get back with you guys once basketball gets cranked up. But have a good call, my man, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, we're getting basketball going now, and we hope everyone has a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will be going with basketball as we head into 2021. And again, we wish Hawthorne good luck. Hopefully they will bring back their first state football title. It's been quite a year in Hawthorne this year already with their 2 basketball state titles.
All right, that's marvelous, Marty Pallman from theprepzone.com. We'll talk to you later, Marty. Take care, bud.
Thanks, QB.
You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Hey, Gator Nation, this is your former head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Check out our show, Inside the Huddle with Shane Matthews and Steve Russell, every Tuesday during football season on 8:50 a.m. and 98.1 FM WRUF at 10 o'clock a.m.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Aver and Smith Personal Injury Attorneys, Orange Theory Fitness, PRP Regeneration Specialist, and Dowling Signs. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the Advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're going to continue our Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup, and we have some breaking news. Well, it broke yesterday, late afternoon, but our good buddy, good friend, former teammate, former sideline reporter for the Mighty Gators, Mr. Brady Ackerman, is your new head football coach of the Bellevue Rattlers. Good morning, Brady. Congratulations, my man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on, Shane, and I'm excited. You know, you've been a head coach, so you know what task I have ahead of me as far as just trying to rebuild a program, build it back up. But I couldn't think of a better place to do it at than Bellevue, near my family, near the Gators, near you guys, and I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, Brady, just let everybody know, you know, you left you doing the sideline reporting, but you just had that itch. You love coaching ball. Was fortunate enough to go to Jackson State. You were there a couple of years. They made a coaching change, and when a coaching change happens, you know, everybody loses their job. And you wanted to get back here, obviously closer to your kids, and you've been in Ocala for a long time. What made you want to look at the Bellevue job?
Well, you know, first of all, you know, I've been in Ocala. I was thinking about this the other day, Shane. I've been in Ocala a third of my life. You know, raised 3 children there. And then if you count the last 3 years, probably more than a third of my life just from commuting back and forth. And, you know, when I first moved to Ocala, Bellevue was the first high school I had seen because my wife's brother graduated from Bellevue. And my in-laws lived in Bellevue. They lived in Summerfield, which is right around Bellevue. And so I spent a lot of time in Bellevue. And I always thought, you know, man, what a cool place. A great weight room, great fields, a lot of space, good facility. And, you know, when I first moved there, they were pretty good. And, you know, going through the years, coaching Little League baseball against them and seeing some of their kids. Then when I was volunteer coaching at Forest and seeing the kind of kids they could have or the kind of kids that ended up on my campus when I was at Forest that should have been Bellevue, I said, man, they got a chance to be, that has a chance to be a special place. You know, Baker County is a place we both know, Shane, over in Jacksonville is a 5A. And I think it could be a lot like that. They made it to a state championship a couple of years ago. Obviously ran into American Heritage. You had about 11 D1 kids, but it's got that unique feel of its own community in Bellevue, but also being able to draw from Ocala as far as, you know, just fans and people that really want to come out and see it. And I just think it's a unique place. And I'm excited to be there. The other thing I will say is this job was a perfect fit for me because of the principal and the athletic director. The principal, she coached or taught at Forest when I coached there, Shane, back when you guys beat us on the block field goal because we didn't number up over there when you were at GHS. But she was the teacher of the year, and her husband and I coached together at Forest. He's D-line coach there, excellent coach, great energy, great person, great teacher. And then she took over as principal there. So I know she's committed to athletics in general. And then the athletic director, the longtime Vanguard coach who took them to the Final Four in basketball, who I had a relationship with when I was doing radio and stuff in the area. I know he cares about it, and I know he knows what it's going to take. And so to be able to walk into a place where I have tremendous amount of respect for the principal and the athletic director right out of the gate, two people I know have my back, I think that's a recipe for success. It's going to take some time, but I think it's a recipe for success.
No doubt. So when you got to start?
Well, obviously we're getting ready to go on Christmas break, and so people shut things down. I'm already trying to put together a staff, try to put together some weight room procedures and stuff. And we'll, after the first of the year, we'll meet with the kids and, try to get the weight room going first, and then get in the hallways. I know I hear we got some players in the hallways that aren't out there. And, it's a program that has a lot of pride, Shane. But right now they've been beaten down pretty good the last couple of years. And they need someone to come in with some energy, with a positive attitude. We were a part of a turnaround at Florida. Okay. I mean, say what you want, but that was attitude more than anything. When Spurrier came to Florida, we were a part of that. And I was able to, be on a staff at Forest when I was a volunteer coach that took Forest to the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. So I know what it takes to turn something around. It's going to take some time, but it also takes a lot of positive energy. And we look forward to hitting the ground running right after New Year's.
Hey, Chris Doring Mortgage. They do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. You got that number, Brady? You need to call Doring about a house down in Ocala?
Well, I called him today. I called him today. He didn't answer my call. So he said, I guess he's big time, Brett. But no, I'm not. I need one in South Ocala. I want to be in the community, Shane. I think you know what this is about, because when you were a head coach, you kind of lived in the community where you were a coach over in Jacksonville. I think it's important to be around the people that are part of your program every day. And I'd love to live in Bellevue or Summerfield area if we can find a place and be around the people that are sending their kids to our school. And so I'm excited about that. And of course, Chris is doing a great job on TV. He lost that bet on the LSU game the other day, and I wanted to text him and say, people think he lost the bet. He wanted to dress like that.
Oh, there's no question. No question.
He would rather dress like that.
Yes, indeed. Brady, before we let you go, I think it's awesome you're going back to helping high school kids, because my dad was a high school coach for 30-something years. I've done it at a volunteer level, what have you. I feel like a high school coach has more influence on a kid than any coach you'll ever have. There's that quote out there, a high school coach impacts more people's lives in 1 year than the average person does in a lifetime. And I know that's very important to you, and I'm sure you're excited to get started.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Shane. And, that. And I've recruited the area the last 3 years when I was at Jackson State, signed a kid out of Vanguard High School, who I think the world of, him and his mom. And really, we went through some tough times to get him there, but we got him there. And that's what makes you feel good. I mean, yes, wins make you feel good. Everybody wants to win, but also being able to have an impact on these young people. And, I would be remiss if I didn't say, you asked me about the job and everything. We have a good pipeline of young kids coming into the school next year. Our NCYFL Rattlers team won the league, which is a big deal. It's like a Pop Warner League for those who don't know. So we've got some talent coming in. So the future is going to be there. But being able to, not everybody's going to play college football. And that's one thing that, if you're just real with the kids, say, what are your goals? What are your expectations? And let me be real with you and how we can get there. I think every kid can have a great experience in high school because, we have great college memories. There's no question, Shane, but we were blessed to have Coach Spurrier coming there. But in high school, those are memories that impact more kids because not everybody goes on to play college football. So there are guys that I played high school with that never played college football, but all the memories we had at Fletcher High School are still things that they carry with them today. And that's what I want for our kids. I want our kids to have a great positive experience at Bellevue. I want us to be a team that is competitive right away and that fights and that challenges teams and that is fun to watch for the fans. And I think everybody's going to have fun. I think we need more positive energy around Bellevue football. And I think I'm going to bring that day one.
Before we let you go, we got to get your thoughts on the Gators this year. You're going to play Alabama. The game, LSU game's over with and done. It's a tough task, but you never know. That's why you play the game.
I tweeted during the game. First of all, I didn't realize. Maybe you knew this. Brad Johnson's kid should have been playing all year for LSU.
I've said it multiple times on this show.
Good. That kid is good. And I was like, wow, why has this kid not been playing? I mean, he was cool under pressure. He's going to be really good. And he's a lefty. I tweeted during the game, maybe we should throw every down. So I'm sure somebody, if I throw it every down at Bellevue's going to say, well, why don't you run the ball? If Florida can't run it, you can't run it. But, I think Dan's done a terrific job. The 2 games we lost were by a field goal. I can say we now because I'm a Gator. I'm not coaching at Jackson State. I'm a Bellevue Rattler. We lost by a field goal, and we had a turnover in one game and a couple turnovers that hurt us in that game. And we still had missed a field goal that kid probably makes 9 out of 10 times and should probably kick one in the first series. I just think there's just been such a short margin of error with the Gators this year, Shane, because the defense hasn't been what we were used to, that it puts a lot of pressure on the offense. And if you got to play the perfect game every time, and they're going to have to play, the offense will have to play a perfect game Saturday, and hopefully the defense will bounce back and make some big plays. I will say this, and I didn't defend him on Twitter, Marco Wilson, who's taking a lot of heat and so forth. But and it was probably a dumb play, obviously, and it's frustrating. But I know his dad, because when Quincy used to come around and I was covering the Gators, I got to know his dad a little bit. He's a good family, good kid. Yeah. And I'm rooting for him to have a huge game against Alabama. I don't know if he will. Don't put him on Devonta Smith. He might not. But I'm rooting for that kid. I think he comes from a good family. I think his dad's a good dude. And I know his brother was a great player for us at the Gators. So I think we can hang around, but we're going to need some help.
Yep, I agree. Well, man, we really are excited for you. Anxious to watch the Rattlers in action on Friday nights. And let us know when you get down here to Ocala, my man.
I will. Thank you for having me on, Shane.
Yep, that's Brady Ackerman, the new head ball coach of the Bellevue football program. Well, again, it looks like the Gators had a really good signing day. We'll give you a rundown of a couple of the players that they had here that signed. Marcus Burke, a wide receiver out of Jacksonville Trinity Christian. Carlos Del Rio, quarterback from the Atlanta area. Tyreek Sapp from down in Fort Lauderdale. DeJuan Black from Mississippi, who was a JUCO signee. He's an athlete. Jordan Young from Tampa. Chief Borders from Chicago, Illinois. Corey Collier, Jeremiah Williams, Jason Marshall Jr. is one guy they think they can fill in next year for sure. Jalen Kitna, another quarterback out of, they say he's from Tacoma, Washington. That's where he was born, but he actually from the state of Texas. Justin Boone, defensive lineman. Dejon Reynolds, wide receiver. Chris Thomas Jr. Desmond Watson, big defensive lineman. Nick I can't pronounce his last name, but he's a tight end. Played for Mark Brunell at at Episcopal over in Jacksonville. Gage Wilcox from the Tampa area. Yusuf, can't pronounce his last name either, big offensive lineman. Rocco Underwood, that's our long snapper. Never heard of a school giving a long snapper a scholarship out of high school, so very interesting. I'm referring to a Division I school. Donovan McMillan, defensive back. Jake Slaughter played for John Brantley down at Trinity Catholic, big offensive lineman. So congratulations to all those guys. That's your early signees. Florida have a few more in February sign with us. Again, we had great news on the Keontae Johnson situation. I know Scott Strickland visited him yesterday in the hospital, said Keontae was sitting up, talking. So tremendous news there. Also, Coach Brian Johnson is up for the Frank Broyles Award, which is a top award for the assistant coaches. We wish him a lot of luck. He will be head coach one day. We just don't know when. Hopefully it's not anytime soon. Tomorrow is Friday. Don't forget, we'll have our Peachland Dentistry. Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. The Peachland Dentistry JC and the QB weekend picks. JC's had a good year. I've been okay. I've kind of gone on a limb here recently, and he's taking a little lead on me. But other than that, we appreciate you watching our show. We still need more followers. We got a couple of sponsors. If you want to be a sponsor, if you got a business out there that wants to, we got tons of viewers out there. We're just looking for more followers and a couple more sponsors. You can reach out to the show and we'll get you on board. But I really want to thank Brent Beaird from over in Jacksonville. He's a Heisman Trophy voter. I meant to ask him who was on his ballot. We'll ask him next week after these championship games who he has on his. Well, he can't really tell us who he's voting for till afterwards, but we're going to ask him anyway. And then also marvelous Marty Pallman from the prepzone.com for joining us as well, talking about state championship games. And then, Cornelius Ingram and them are going for the state championship tonight. And we wish them a lot of luck to the Hornets. And then our good friend and former teammate Brady Ackerman, who's now the new head football coach at Bellevue High School. He's the head coach of the Rattler football program. We wish him a lot of luck. I think he'll do a tremendous job over there. It's going to be a rebuilding process, but Brady will get it done over there, and can't wait to watch him on the sidelines on Friday nights. On Friday's show, don't forget, we're going to have, as I mentioned, JC for the Peachland Dentistry weekend picks, but we're going to have Antonio Langham, former Alabama Crimson Tide defensive back. I know him very well. Yeah, part of their national championship team in 1992. Basketball, I'm not sure if we're still playing Saturday against FAU. I know they canceled the game yesterday for North Florida, but I'm not sure if we are going to play Saturday against FAU. We might, since the news has been better, but we'll see. I can't. I'm so damn happy that Keontae's doing well. That really concerned me. Anyway, today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Follow us, like us on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcasts. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Be safe out there, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. We're speaking with John Brantley III, former Gator quarterback, on the Titan Tomorrow hotline from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. You were coached by Coach Spurrier. There's only been a handful of us that understand what it's like to play for him. Talk about some of those experiences and what you learned from him.
Well, a lot of the stuff that I use today, coaching-wise and offensive scheme-wise, all, basically came from Coach Spurrier, which came through Kerwin Bell when we coached together. My first 4 years of being an assistant coach at Trinity Catholic with Kerwin and Ricky Nattil and Big David Williams. But, I got there with Coach Spurrier's first year in 78. People don't remember that. You go into his office and he's got all pictures of his quarterbacks. I'm the top left up there, the first one, and it's in black and white. Hell, they didn't even have color back there, Shane. And but it was a unique experience because Coach had just come out of the Tampa Bay Bucks. That 1 year he played with the Bucks. Then he was out of ball for a year, and then Coach Dickey brought him in, and he was figuring out, learning the coaching respect of the game. So I caught him at a fun time. I mean, he was a lot of fun. He wanted to make up plays like he did even later on. But then I'd have to go reel him in sometimes for a 2:00 meeting. He'd be across the street with his little Mazda with his back hatch up and hitting golf balls out there where the band used to. That's where Bull Gator parking lot is right now. And he'd be out there hitting pitching wedges. And I'd have to go get him and tell him we got a 2:00 meeting getting ready to happen. So, but he figured it out, obviously. And that's why he's the guy he is today. I love him. Talked to him this week about his birthday. And matter of fact, I'm trying to get Scotty, depending on what Scotty's going to do with his coaching career. I'd like to thrown an offer out to him to get him back here to Ocala and coaching and get settled into a job. But no, Jerry and Mom and that family, we've been close. We got a condo over there at the beach in St. Augustine and about 2 miles away from Coach. So we spend a lot of time together and on the golf course. Love that family.